Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to the channel here. Guess what? I'm finally talking about Sonic 1 on the channel. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Considering that it's going to be the Blue Hedgehog's 35th anniversary next year, makes my heart ache just a bit. I remember when it was the 15th anniversary and Sonic 06 was the next Sonic game to be hyped for. Time really does go by fast, huh? With Sonic Racing Crossworlds being the latest Sonic game and being a super fan of that game, I'll be talking more about that game in its own review soon enough. I wanted to take a look back on the original games that made Sonic who he was back in the early 90s. And this is something I want to talk about for a very long time, and it's very surreal that that time is now. For this, I'll be taking a look at the Sonic Origins version of Sonic 1 and so forth, since it is the preferred version to play this game after all. Sonic Origins did come out for the 31st anniversary, and wow, okay, Sonic 1 is going to be 35 years old. I was not born in the 90s, but man, I already know I'm going to get called Unk somewhere in the comments. Especially when I have memories of Sonic Heroes back in 2004 being the latest Sonic game after all. So go ahead, call me Unk. I don't care. I lived in a good era of Sonic, damn it.
Cream puff flower catch.
What did he say?
Of course, Sonic coming into my life back in 2003 with my cousin showing me Sonic Adventure DX on the Nintendo GameCube. This was a time that life for me was very simple. I mean, I was only 3 years old here. I mean, what else is a 3-year-old gonna be doing? I was simple back then. All I needed was family, Toy Story, Spider-Man, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on those VHS tapes. Yes, I do know what VHS tapes are. I know what a Walkman is. And I also know what a Intellivision is too. Kiss my ass. But ever since I saw my cousin playing Sonic on his Nintendo GameCube, it just kinda took over my life being a Sonic fan I am today. Me and my cousin were just about Sonic everything. I mean, yeah, later he would grow up into the Crash Bandicoot scene and still liking Sonic, but he just preferred the orange marsupial over the blue hedgehog. But me? I stayed loyal to Sonic, but I did like the original Crash games. My family at the time just got rid of the Sony PlayStation to get the Microsoft Xbox console at the time. While I wouldn't get a Nintendo GameCube until 2006, my Sonic fix would actually be filled with Sonic Heroes. Since it was really just the only game I could play on my own without going to my cousin's house to play Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, my cousin and I just loved the 2-player battle mode in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and of course discovering my favorite Sonic character in the Sonic franchise being Shadow the Hedgehog himself. So it was during Christmas time in 2004 where I was actually gifted by my family a Game Boy Advance SP, and soon enough I got Sonic Advance 2 for Christmas of that year, along with other Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance videos like Sonic X for example. And then later in 2005, one of my family members gifted me their newly Nintendo DS system for not caring about it as much. And then later I got Sonic Rush, making it my 3rd Sonic game ever, and of course, since it was 2005, Shadow the Hedgehog being my 4th Sonic game since it was also on the Xbox console. And then later I got Sonic Riders for my birthday in 2006. I'm telling you, nothing else mattered to me than Sonic the Hedgehog. I did not mind that one bit after all. I don't remember exactly when, but I did eventually get Sonic Mega Collection Plus on the Xbox as well, making me experience the original Sonic games for the very first time. And if it wasn't for this collection, I don't know when I would have actually ever experienced the original Sonic games, like ever. This collection really does mean a lot to me personally. I know a lot of folks can say the same thing as well, down to its timeless music, its beautiful UI and extras. Man, I just adore Sonic Mega Collection Plus. Not to mention that my dad's simply hogging the game back in the day with Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. He was addicted, man. He and I would play this game every now and then back in the day, and I sucked at the game as a kid. But I was super excited to be gifted a GameCube in 2006.
I just love smacking that Princess Peach.
Getting Sonic Gems Collection, Sonic Adventure DX, Adventure 2 Battle, and another copy of Shadow the Hedgehog. Alright, there's an actual reason for this. My dad had been secretly trying to get the newly released Xbox 360, but times were hard back in this time, and me being a kid, I didn't know. My memory is a bit hazy here, like most of my memories are, but I did know that he traded in the original Xbox for the 360, along with my original copy of Shadow the Hedgehog, because I didn't need 2 of them. And besides, the GameCube version was the better version, so it works out. And of course, I eventually got Sonic 06, and I remember that quite well when that was being released and everything. It was probably my first memory of a brand new Sonic game being released besides Sonic Rush, but yeah, this is how I got introduced to Sonic the Hedgehog, and it just kind of stuck with me forever. Of course, over the years, I'd get more Sonic games and eventually becoming a Sonic tuber and, you know, here on the channel on YouTube, making some friends along the way that I hold dear to me even to this very day.
Don't worry. Just raise your head and run. Feels great, doesn't it?
Sonic really has changed my life in more ways than one. So let me honor Sonic by talking about his very first game, which is Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991, released in a time period where I wasn't even born yet. Okay, I didn't mean to make it sound prehistoric. The year was 1990 when Sega was planning to take an aim at Nintendo since almost the mid to late 80s. Nintendo was dominating the gaming market, where other gaming consoles such as Atari 7800 and the Segs?
What the shit?
And of course Sega Master System, which wasn't going to catch up to the popularity that is the Famicom and Nintendo Entertainment System. Or NES for short. The Famicom and the NES are basically the same console, but just suited for each region with a different design. This basically forced them to have most, if not all, third-party games to be going exclusively with Nintendo, making them a monopoly in the gaming market. So here's Sega making the 4th generation consoles to become a reality, making the Sega Genesis, or known as the Mega Drive back in Japan. It was released back in 1988, and it would also be packaged with
Rise from your grave.
Now, the console would have very low sell figures in the very beginning of its release, up until the famous Blue Hedgehog goes on the scene, of course. But Sega wanted to take action and create their own mascot to go up against Mario. They thought about the approach a lot between Sega of Japan and Sega of America. Tom Kalinske would be the president of Sega of America during this time period, and thanks to the president of Sega of Japan, Hayao Nakayama. Having him on board in the Sega culture leading to where Sega of America had really the final say on the decisions to get the company as a whole to have more sales. Sega of Japan went to work on first having the design of the new mascot for Sega and how the game would be developed. Naoto Oshima would be the lead designer, while Yuji Naka would be the lead programmer to design the game, thanks to talent on having, in today's terms, gotta go fast being the key feature of the game. Yuji Naka's mindset was to finish the level as fast as he can. The faster that you finish a level, the more skilled you'd be in terms of control and in terms of learning level design. And with no saves back then, that would actually mean the first few levels were going to be played the most no matter how you look at it. He wanted speed to be a reward for the game, and it sure gave us that dopamine when it was done flawlessly. For the music is being composed by Masato Nakamura, who was the bassist and co-founder of Dreams Come True. And when Nakamura was asked to do the soundtrack, he would only be seeing the game by screenshots. He really didn't see the game as a game. He only saw the game as a movie. So his thought process was to design the soundtrack to be a movie soundtrack instead. Even stating that the Genesis sound was something very hard to develop because of its sound chip, saying that it was very difficult to even do, which is actually incredible from someone to compose music for a game to be like a movie, and it's such an inspiring idea to me personally, especially for an early 90s game. It was way ahead of its time. With Yuji Naka's skill of programming already going to work, the design of Sonic was still in question. So a contest was held within Sega with numerous designs on who would be the mascot, and with the final pickings thanks to Al Nilsson, which just so happened to be known as Mr. Needle Mouse. Yeah, he wasn't called Sonic the Hedgehog at first, but it's funny to think about that could have been his name. But don't worry, that was just a mistranslation. With shoes inspired by Santa Claus, his yellow buckle on his shoes from Michael Jackson's Bad Album, the too cool for school attitude more so with Bill Clinton, yeah, him.
If Ragnarok came out just a few months earlier, he would have a bigger chance.
You know, real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
Who was that guy?
Was indeed Sonic the Hedgehog. Him being in a rock band, having a human girlfriend named Madonna, was thrown away because yes, Sega of America's product manager, Madeline Schroeder and Al Nilsson thought it would be too weird to have Sonic to have all these things for such a simple game. Not to mention things outside the game too, of course, like backstory for the character and advertising not just for the character, but Sega as a whole. Which, yeah, looking back at it would be too weird for Sonic. I mean, having a human girlfriend will never happen. Like, ever. Am I right?
What is it, Peterson?
I'm not sure. I feel a disturbance.
So yeah, Sonic had a slight redesign over here in the West, while the rest of the world kept his original design by Oshima. And yeah, I do prefer Oshima's original design. The redesign for American audiences is just, I don't know. I really don't know how to put it into words. It's just different from Oshima's original design, making it look like fan art at times, but trying to be that early 90s edgy styling. Sega Japan didn't like the redesign either, and I don't blame them. Oshima even designing Dr. Eggman this cute sketch of him in pajamas, which was inspired by Humpty Dumpty. And of course, his name would be changed here in the West, known as Dr. Robotnik, which I'm sure is just another slap to the face. However, this somehow worked in the Western market, and the rest was history. Thanks to the game being bundled up with the hardware in 1991, and it caught the eye of Nintendo saying,
Are you serious?
Now, Nintendo had some competition for the very first time, but that's not in today's video. When it comes to the plot of this game, it's quite a simple one. The story begins with the evil Dr. Eggman/Robotnik capturing these little critters known as Flickies, and then he uses them to try to seize these gemstones known as the 6 Chaos Emeralds on South Island. Robotnik uses his Flickies to power up his own robots, which are called Badnets in the game. The Badnets obey his every command as they try to find the 6 Chaos Emeralds. But Sonic the Hedgehog will not allow that to happen. He tries to stop Robotnik by going through all the zones on South Island and freeing the Flickies from the Badnets prison, all while collecting the 6 Chaos Emeralds and defeating Robotnik in his own base of operations known as Scrap Brain Zone. Robotnik getting upset as he jumps on the end text when you beat him after the credits roll. Or if you don't get the Chaos Emeralds, he'll just tease you with all the emeralds with his shit-eating grin. Oh, you didn't get all the emeralds, try again. But if you do end up getting all the Chaos Emeralds, you would actually get the good ending where all the Badnets are free, regardless if you didn't defeat every single one of them. Using the Chaos Emeralds' power, they scatter away once used, going onto another island. And that's it. That's the story. Quite a simple one. Nothing wrong with a simple story. I mean, this is the early 90s we're talking about. It was just all about gameplay and having fun. Controls are simple too. You can jump, move left or right, look up or down, and depending on the situation, you can roll into a ball and gain some speed. Just platforming at its finest here. Speed is a key feature in the game, as Yuji Naka wanted us, the player, to get through the stage as fast as you possibly can. You, as the player, can go through the stages as Sonic the Hedgehog, and jump on the Badnets to Motobugs, Buzz Bombers, Choppers, Crab Meat, and these fucking assholes called Neutrons. Remember, the Flickies here are trapped in the Badnets here, so whenever you jump and defeat one of them, you can see a Flickie run away. Well, isn't that nice? By going to each stage, you can actually do your usual platforming, exploring when and if you can, getting rings, shields, life, sometimes invincibility, and maybe sometimes getting the Sonic Speed Shoes that can make you go fast. That's all I need and everything, but sometimes stages in this game are weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got my favorites, even if there isn't that much to begin with. There's only 7 zones in this game, and of course, I got Green Hill, Marble Zone, Spring Yard Zone, and especially my all-time favorite, Starlight Zone. What? Okay, Marble Zone. Yeah, even though it is slow right after Green Hill Zone, I just enjoy the vibe here. Now, is it wrong of me? Maybe. But I'd argue the worst stage is Labyrinth Zone, which is far worse. And it got a remake in Sonic 4. And everyone loves Sonic 4, am I right? Sonic 4's bang, you can't tell me otherwise.
Sonic 06 Bay.
Sonic 1's pacing is definitely something that I can't even ignore. Cause what is this? You go to Green Hill, which is super fast-paced, then you go to Marble Zone, which is, as much as I enjoy the vibe here, is really slow. Spring Yard Zone is the next one after that one, and if you're lucky, try not to get stuck in this damn bumper, which I have nightmares from. And then you go to Labyrinth Zone, which is just another slow stage. Then you go to Starlight Zone, which is fast. Okay, what are we doing here? And then finally you go to Scrap Brain Zone, which is the hardest zone in the entire game. So the pattern here in this game overall is fast, slow, fast, and I don't know what to say. If the zones were from fastest to slowest, then I think I'd be better with the pacing, but no, it's just really weird. And I only like half the stages here in Sonic 1, while other stages are okay at best. But even then, Spring Yard and Starlight Zones, they have their fair share of slow paces of the stage, which is fine, but not everything needs to be super fast all the time. Heck, even the slower stages have their fast moments in them, but that's just it, they're just moments. But the blast processing is sort of misleading. Even at the end of the day, it was just buzzwords. Yes, you are today years old finding out the truth about blast processing. It was just a marketing tactic to make sales, and you know it worked. And when going through the stages, you'll get new enemies, like this pink guy here, who more than likely will hit me as well. Kamikaze little shits. And then you've got the really nice and angry horny guys. Yeah, this game has everything. So with that, Green Hill, as overly overused as it is nowadays, it's still a fun time and very chill. A very cozy hold down right and win the stage. Then Act 3 shows up, and you have to use that brain a little bit to lock in from that slouch position on the couch. Defeat Eggman, and go back to being the shrimp you are due to the slow and comfy vibe of Marble Zone. Marble Zone is really just a waiting game unless you want to make it slow and risk everything and make it to the end of the stage faster. This zone is a lot more linear compared to Green Hill, and a lot slower. The fight here with Eggman is, you just hit him and move out of the way from the flames and rinse and repeat. With Spring Yard Zone being as fast as it is, filled with springs all over the place given the title, and bumpers galore.
Oh my god, bumpers!
It even has these slow down elevators which can break the pace only for it to be fast again with hazards. And the boss fight here is actually a little bit creative. You kind of have to beat him really fast here because the floor is being taken away from Eggman each time he takes a crack at you. Then probably the worst stage of the game, Labyrinth Zone. Sonic can't swim, and 90% of the stage is underwater. So good luck with that. Your objective is really just to survive from everything and everything. And drowning. Badnets here can move normally, while you can't. And the bubbles here will taunt you and not give you any bubbles while you drown in misery. And the boss fight is just chasing Eggman. Okay, so this is probably the best song in the entire game. I love Starlight Zone as a stage, and I especially love the soundtrack here. Starlight Zone is a zone that is as fast as Green Hill, but it's about as deadly as Scrap Brain Zone. Sadly, the boss is nothing but a drag, since the only way you can hit Eggman is with these explosive spikes that he leaves trying to get Sonic. Speaking of Scrap Brain Zone, it's the last zone of the entire game, and it's okay. It is the most difficult zone in the entire game due to all the traps and surprises that it tries to get at you. The zone is just a cautious zone, probably the only zone that you want to slow down in. Now I hoped you liked Labyrinth Zone, because when you get at the end of Act 2, Eggman traps Sonic, leaving him back to a labyrinth-looking like zone. But gray. Thus, we get into the final zone, which is just the final boss fight of the entire game. And this boss is, again, simple. Avoid the light, hit Eggman safely, and that's it. You beat the game. That's it. That's the game. Or at least I would say. Yeah, there was a good and bad ending in the early 90s. It's kind of crazy. If you get 50 or more rings at the end of each act and then jump into the giant ring, you have a chance to nab a Chaos Emerald, which you can control the stage while it spins in a circle. Bumpers are all over the place, having goalposts where it can end the special stage, meaning you lost a chance to nab the emerald, and then the R circles, which can change the direction of going left to right of the stage. Collecting all 6 Chaos Emeralds by the end of the game, you get the good ending, like I said before. In the original version of the game did not have a spin dash until the next entry, that was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So when you try to do it here, it's sort of... yeah. Now, in later editions of the game, this would be added to fit better in line with later games, of course. Just don't be surprised if you play an earlier version of the game with no spin dash. Now, is it worth to go back and play the original? Why, of course, but it's pretty much the same as everywhere else. Except for that one. The game is just one of those simple games that anyone can pick up and play. Probably the best thing you can ask for when developing a game. Groups of all ages can enjoy the game for simply picking up the controller and go. You know, since there are multiple versions of this game over the years, get the Sonic Origins version. I mentioned already, it's the one I'm looking at in today's video because it is the best one to get. You not only get the game as it was intended, but you also get it in story mode, anniversary mode, and of course, classic mode, which is just Sonic 1 and 4:3 ratio, but keeping the spin dash. Oh, they removed the drop dash from Sonic Mania. Oh, silly me. Let's just take that off. There we go. In this version, you can play with other characters too, along with the stuff from the other games, such as Elemental Shields from Sonic 3, and if you have the $10 DLC, which I already talked about in another video, so go check it out if you haven't, you can play as Amy Rose from Sonic CD. She's neat. But on top of that, the game never had a 7th Chaos Emerald. So, going into the level select screen, and then changing that number to 7, you can get the extra Chaos Emerald with the extra special stage, and voila, Super Sonic, baby. I played this game over and over throughout the years, and I own many versions of this game. I got it through the collections of Meg Collection, Classic Collection on the DS, the mobile versions, the original, and of course Origins. I remember playing the original games a lot back in the day, back on Steam as well, with Meg Collection Plus on the Xbox. Just, Mega Collection has a special place in my heart with everything really. The music, the aesthetics, just everything, man. I know people prefer Sonic 2 and 3, which I do agree. 1 is just simply the first game in the series, but it's not a bad game. I do treasure this game a lot. And yes, of course, the pacing is just off and levels can be a drag sometimes, but the game it's just great. I do enjoy this game. I have no problems with it, really. Except for the pacing, of course. I just love the game at the end of the day. I can always pick up this game and not have any trouble, and due to the fact that I've been playing this game for 20 plus years. And that line made me feel old, even though I wrote it. Thank you, past self. Alright, next time I'll see you guys in the Stranger of Paradise review. That review has been in the works for months, and you know, I apologize for the wait. Trust me, that video I've been waiting to make for a very long time. Until then, I will see you guys next time in the Stranger of Paradise review, and I hope to see you guys there. And remember to stay cool, and God bless.